Welcome to Beyond the Shelf. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Jenny.
We're in a different recording space today, so things are going to sound a little different. You might hear some other people in the library.
That's okay. It makes sense. We are in a library, and it's a library podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll hear books. They talk to us.
Like what? Audiobooks. They do talk to us. You are correct. We are both, I would say we're pretty avid, like, TV series watchers.
Yeah, I think so. Downtime, like to just lose myself in fiction. If I'm not reading a book, I'll watch a show, usually. I probably watch more TV than movies. I'm not sure.
I would probably say the same, but I feel like watching TV has changed from, like, cable and satellite to streaming so much now.
When I was growing up, back in the old days, we used to have to wait for months before we got the next episode and, the cliffhangers. And now you can binge watch a whole series in like a day. Yeah, it's completely different. And I have fallen into that trap for sure, where Netflix will come up and say, "Are you still watching?" And I feel very judged by Netflix.
You're like, yes, I watched 10 episodes in a row and I'm still watching. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I pay you, Netflix. You just leave me alone.
Exactly. No, I've fallen into this kind of hole of like, I can't just watch a show now. I have to be crocheting or doing something at the same time. Like, my attention span is just dropped for watching a show.
Mine too. I definitely have onset ADHD. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with that sort of thing. I do read a lot of books still, though, but I oftentimes have 3 or 4 books going at the same time. So.
I'm definitely in the middle of at least 2 right now, so for sure.
Yeah.
So not everybody's got Netflix or Hulu or whatever, which is why it's awesome that we have a DVD collection here.
For sure.
I asked Jana, who has been at the library longer than anybody else, how many DVDs we actually have in our collection. Because, like, we can look over at the section from the circulation desk and you can guess. But this includes movies as well as TV series. And then we have nonfiction like National Geographic and stuff like that, too. So in the adult department, we have 6,294 DVDs.
Wow.
So some of those are like binge sets. So you can watch, there's like 5 movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or if you get like the series. But I bet that doesn't count each individual disc because we don't have a
it just
barcode
counts
on
the
every
box.
disc.
No, it just would count the box. We have a lot of binge boxes.
That's true. Yeah.
Like my favorite one, I think I mentioned before, was the Don't Travel with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Sully and the shipwrecked one. Yeah.
So there's almost 6,300 in adult, and there are 2,061 DVDs in the children's department. So those are anything that's like G-rated or under. Yeah. And anything PG or older is going to be down on the main level. So we also have 351 Blu-rays and 63 Blu-rays in children.
So the Blu-rays, are those Blu-ray DVD? Or are those just solely Blu-ray? Do you know?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because I know some of them, it'll be a Blu-ray, but it also has the DVD with it. Yeah. So usually those in our system are listed as Blu-rays.
Okay.
So I would imagine that if we're counting individual discs, our number is still going up.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. So, yeah, there's a lot of DVDs to choose from, and that's just here at Orville. That doesn't include what's available in ClevNet. I was curious, though, about how many videos or DVDs get checked out in a year, and the last number that I saw that we had available, like on our website with annual report, was from 2019. It was almost 10,000 DVDs that were checked out in a year.
That's not surprising. And I'm sure since COVID, there's been way more, probably. Yeah. Like today, I'm sure I've been here like just 2 hours, and I've probably checked out at least 20 DVDs just in those 2 hours to different people. So, yeah.
One of the things I love about having the DVD collection, the audiovisual, is that we can get new movies. And it's not like the stuff that's in the theaters right now, but instead of like going and buying Oppenheimer or buying, the next Shrek movie or whatever it is, you can get it from the library. Now, some of them, like Oppenheimer, are super popular. Right. And you might have to wait a little bit for it to come in, but...
Yeah, we do. We have great. A lot.
You don't have to spend how much does a DVD cost anymore?
I would say probably new $30.
I haven't bought a movie in so
Yeah.
long. I don't even know.
The only thing we have, you can check out up to 15 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You get them for 1 week. So I think that's a lot. Oh, that's a lot of movies in a week, 15.
Yeah. And there are people who do that. Like this is where they come for their source of entertainment. You can also get movies digitally. There's a lot of stuff on Hoopla, and I actually just went and looked. The Help is on there. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which won a bunch of awards last year.
Yeah, it did.
For a little millennial nostalgia, Anastasia is available on Hoopla. But a lot of the movies that are on there come and go like they do on like Netflix, so they're only there for a little while. But that's great because that means there's always something.
Well, you know that Frederick Bachman, A Man Called Ova, that was on Hoopla. That's how I watched it.
Okay.
And the original Swedish, that it has subtitles.
Okay.
Because A Man Called Otto, is Tom Hanks, is based on that book, which has been the Americanized version.
Sure, yeah.
And that's why Dawn and I decided this month that she and I were going to choose one of our favorite TV shows, and the other one had to watch the pilot from that TV show and then one other episode of our choice. So for me, I chose Psych because Dawn has never seen it. So she had to watch the pilot, and then she had to watch, it's called Sean versus the Red Phantom. I think it was episode 8 of season 1. So I'm curious to know what you thought about Psych.
Okay, so we've talked about Supernatural before.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I noticed was Timothy Amundsen, who played Kane on Supernatural. And I was like, hey, I know that guy.
For 2 episodes.
I know, but I was like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And then he was also King Richard on Gallivant.
Right.
I guess just seeing him play some different things and the way he looks in each of those shows is very different.
So different.
And the characters are incredibly different.
Oh, yeah.
So there was him, and then there were a couple other people who were also on Supernatural, and those were the things that I noticed straight away.
And they were both filmed in Vancouver, so they had a pool of actors that they would share.
Okay, yeah. I have to admit that I initially thought that Sean, the main character, would be really annoying, but he wasn't as annoying as I expected.
Okay.
I guess is the way to put it. There's like different tropes that you see a lot when you watch different stuff. And this one very much like Psych felt very kind of Agatha Christie to me. Oh, okay. And there's like a mystery each week to solve. So it's one of those, I thought was a good, fun kind of background show to like have playing that you don't have to think too hard about. I could see how Psych could easily be a comfort show because the characters are reliable. And there is some like overarching, there's like the relationship connections between all of the characters that become important. In episode 8, Sean versus the Red Phantom, I was very excited that George Takei, I'm so bad as a Star Trek fan for not knowing how to pronounce his name, but I was like, oh, hey, a Star Trek character.
And that's why we picked that one for you.
Right. I'm not a fan of the original series, but who doesn't love Sulu?
But he's still Star Trek. And it was a Comic-Con,
It was a Comic-Con, and I was like, oh, this is why she picked it, because she knows that I'll like it, because it's a Comic-Con. I definitely, in that episode, I was like, I know who the bad guy is before the end of the episode. And sometimes watching shows like that, you're like, oh, it's this person, it's her. And then you get partway through and you're like, oh, wait, no, maybe it's him. So, like, it's one of those kind of fun things to watch. I mean, I don't know if I would continue watching it just because it's not, like, something that I usually watch. In the past, I've only seen, like, bits of different episodes. So, like, I knew, like, Sean and Gus.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, yeah, there's, like, the cops. And one thing that did surprise me is it started out with Sean as a kid and his dad in the diner. Yeah. And his dad makes him close his eyes and tell him how many people are wearing hats.
How many hats are in the room.
Right.
Yep.
And from that memory, it goes on. And Sean very much is, like, kind of gives this, I don't really like my dad attitude. Yeah. And so I did not expect him to actually come face to face with him again in the first episode.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be like he was going to avoid his dad or there was going to be a little more to that. But it's like they get along, but he still kind of resents a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever decide to be like, I'm just going to go ahead and watch this, even if it takes you years just to get through the series, Their dynamic of their relationship, how it evolves, is really cool to me. I really think it's good how they do that throughout the series. So you enjoyed it, though?
I did. I definitely did enjoy it. Like, I would watch it again. But
did you have laugh out loud moments?
Probably.
Yeah.
Nothing is coming to mind. I didn't write anything down specifically. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an easy, like we talk about books that are easy to read. It's an easy to watch show.
It's kind of a cozy mystery show.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Did you like Magic Head? That's we talk about that all the time.
I liked at the end when he had the two posters, and like even though Gus was like mad about the whole Magic Head thing throughout the episode, when there was the poster, he was like, "No, that's me. That's mine."
Yeah.
And he like adopted it. That was great.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us what you made me watch, or
what made
me
you
watch. Let me say this, though. You almost made me watch a cartoon, and that would have been making me watch. And I appreciate that you did not make me watch that.
There are a few shows that I really, really love and enjoy. And I went back and forth on picking a show for you. I thought about like one of the Star Trek series, and I was like, well, maybe the Next Generation to do one of the original ones, but you've seen a lot of that. And I was like, well, do I do a new one? I don't know. And then one of my favorite shows that I've probably watched through a couple times, because this is a thing for me, especially if it's like 5 seasons or less, I will rewatch a show, like a comfort thing. So the new She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Thank you
which
for
I
not
love.
Making me watch that.
But you don't like animated things.
No.
And I was like, and I really honestly couldn't pick a second episode from that besides the pilot. So I thought about The Rings of Power, which is on Amazon Prime. It's a Lord of the Rings thing.
Right.
Okay, but what second episode from that? And it was really hard. So what I ended up going with was The Witcher, which is based on a book series. And
have you read the book series?
I have read the first one. I've read The Last Wish, but I haven't read any of the other ones.
Okay.
The author is Andrzej Sapkowski, I believe is how it's pronounced. So I had you watch the pilot, which is called The End's Beginning, and then the 4th episode, which is this whole wedding banquet for the daughter of the queen of one of the big countries. So it's very fantasy, which is very my thing. And
right.
So I am really curious to see what you thought of The Witcher.
Okay. So the pilot, I did take a few notes, and the first thing I put was the opening scene definitely grabs your attention right away. It's there's just this peaceful scene of this deer just getting a drink of water at like a stream or whatever, a little lake. And all of a sudden out of the lake comes this like spider monster who ends up being the Witcher. He's like riding him kind of, and then he kills him. And so I was like, that grabbed my attention right away. But what I wanted to ask you was, so the little deer got hurt during that and then had to be killed. You won't watch John Wick because a puppy dies. So how did you continue watching The Witcher when this little baby deer died?
I have to say that a deer and a puppy are very different. The Witcher is set on this different realm, whereas John Wick and the puppy, I think, are supposed to be in our universe.
Okay.
So
you can justify animal deaths on a different realm, is what you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
but it's not in our universe, I guess. So
okay.
I don't know. I think the thing about John Wick is, I don't know, it was poor little puppy. The deer didn't make sad sounds. I don't know.
Well, the puppy dies pretty fast, doesn't make a lot of noise. Anyhow, so I enjoyed it. I thought there was like a really large battle scene, and it was like impressively large. You know, for TV, you just never know. And I realize this is streaming, and so sometimes it's a little more advanced, more movie-like. I thought that was done really well. Like the Queen's. Do I give away spoilers? People might want to watch it.
The books have been out for a long time. There's a video game based on the books, and the series has been on Netflix for several years, so I think that we can give away some spoilers for The Witcher. So
the Queen's husband dies, and then the Queen, it makes it look like she's going off to get the guy that got him, and then it kind of like fades to black or whatever. And then she's back in the castle and the Queen's not doing well. And so she talks to her granddaughter, who she has raised since infancy, and tells her, you need to go find I forgot his name.
Geralt.
She's like, go find him. He's the Witcher. And so then the queen, she dies. And so,
Dramatically, because she can't do anything not dramatically.
She did die dramatically. And the young princess, I'm thinking 14 maybe? She's pretty young.
She's pretty young.
Yeah. She leaves with a knight that is like supposed to protect her, and he ends up dying. But
almost immediately.
Yeah. He was great protection. And she actually gets captured, and then she escapes, and that's, but anyhow. So I'm watching this show and I'm thinking, okay, so you want me to watch episode 4? And I thought, oh man, I feel like I had to watch 2 and 3. So I did. I watched 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I was kind of glad I did because I loved the bard who was in episode 2.
Yes, yeah.
He is so funny, and he's just like the little comic relief. I've heard a lot about the actor that plays the Witcher, Henry Cavill.
That's how I say
and
it. And
people are so goo goo gaga over him, but I've never really seen anything he was in until now. And I think
You've never watched Superman?
No,
me either.
And I'm okay with that. And I think he does a really good job. But one thing I didn't understand, which maybe you can explain to me, was why do people hate The Witcher?
His job is one of those things that people need, but they don't want to have.
Okay.
The way that Witchers are made is through this magical process, and a lot of the boys who go through it end up dying.
So you think that they'd be more angry at the people that want to modify them rather than them themselves, because they feel like the Witcher's purpose is to kill monsters.
Right.
That is what he is genetically made to do. I'm thinking, thank you. I hate you.
It's this weird balance. It's it's just this weird balance that people have. The Witchers are these mutants made by magic, and there's a lot of mystery around them. And probably in the past, some of them have done some nefarious or shady things, right? And because of that, they're not accepted. It's kind of like most people see Witchers as a necessary evil.
They're afraid of them.
Yeah, they're afraid of them because they have the power to be able to kill these monsters.
So anyhow, I thought that was kind of sad. I'm like, the Witcher has a pretty lonely existence, basically.
And he tries to play it off like he's okay with it, like this is what he wants. But,
so then I watched 1 through 4, and I watched the 4th one, and I thought, it's Dooney, I think, and the princess. So the princess, it's like this, like you said, this big wedding feast, but she's supposed to be marrying basically the person that the queen had picked out for her. So this is a backstory. So episode 4 takes place before the pilot. So the Witcher jumps around a lot.
The thing about the show is a lot of the episodes, they take different parts from different books. And so there's a lot of storyline in the past, in the present. Yeah. Or it's kind of like in the past and in the future. And then you reach a point where they meet up. Okay. So that was a little bit confusing for me, but it was okay. So she's supposed to marry this other guy who clearly she's not into. She doesn't want to. So this other knight comes, and he's got his helmet on, and he's like, I come and want to get, be the princess's fella. And so they're like, word for word, that's what he said. It was. That's very for the time. And they're like, you won't even show your face. So he takes his helmet off, and he looks basically like a possum or a rat. Hedgehog. Okay, is that what he was? So, and she's like, and I love him. I don't know. It reminded me of Ariel a little bit from The Little Mermaid. We're like, I love him. So anyhow, what is the code? He says, because of the law of surprise. The law of surprise, I saved the king's life or whatever. And the law of surprise is whatever he encounters next gets to be mine. And so his wife had just given birth, so the princess gets to be his type of thing. And she did love him, and so it ends with them. They're going to become one or whatever. They're going to be married. So the cyclone part of it was so weird to me. Yeah. I thought, what? So that was weird. So there's a line the princess there is Pavetta. This is Cirilla's mom. And then Calanthe is Pavetta's mom. So there's a line that Calanthe says to Pavetta. She says, "I thought your grandmother's gift had skipped you the way it skipped me."
Yeah, I heard that line. Yeah.
So there's like some kind of magic that runs in their family. So the whole cyclone thing is when, what is it, Calanthe's about to kill Dooney, and Pavetta like freaks out.
So the queen was going to, so basically you're throwing out these names people may not know. So the queen was going to kill the one that.
The suitor.
The suitor, yeah. And so she protects him by making a cyclone, which they spin up in, and that part was weird to me. But it's okay. So
there's magic in this world.
Right, yeah. So overall, I probably would enjoy watching this show, but to be honest, there's a lot of sexually graphic areas, and I'm like, so I probably won't watch anymore because of that. If that wasn't in it, I probably would continue to watch it because it was intriguing. I liked the storylines, and I would like to see what happens because there's so many.
Well, you could read the books.
Things. I could, and maybe I will. If I ever get through my to be read list, I will add those.
I definitely, the first time I watched it through, was very confused because they pick out different parts of a few books and like are melding these storylines, and it's very back and forth.
Yeah.
And so like initially you're watching it and you're thinking that things are happening at the same time.
Right.
But they're not. They're happening like 80 years apart.
Yeah, because there's this one character who is born with a hunchback, and I think she was part elf, and it was like part of the elfish blood that gave her the hunchback and stuff. And it's showing her, and then like in the 4th episode, which I did watch the episode before that where she actually got healed and she wasn't a hunchback anymore. Then she's like protecting this other person, and she's like, I've been doing this for 3 decades. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen? So it's like a 30-year time jump. So I think this is a show you have to really pay attention because so much is going on in it.
I've rewatched. There's 3 seasons of it. The 4th one is supposed to come out. Somebody else is supposed to play Geralt in the next one. I heard that
Henry Cavill left the series or whatever.
So there's speculation about why Henry Cavill left. The biggest theory is that he's a great big nerd and he wanted to continue following like the books. And there even other cast members have said on set, Henry will be like, well, in the book this happened and it was like this and we should do it like this, like the book.
Yeah.
And the writers, and he just had like different visions for where it was going. He was like, you know what, I'm a peace out.
Yeah. So Psych and The Witcher are both TV series that you can find through ClevNet. You can find The Witcher books, and Psych actually has a series of books that were written post-show that somebody has written in there. I've read, I can't remember, 1 or 2. I read one, and it actually follows the show fairly well. Okay. So if you watch the show and like it, little companion book to go with it. It's kind of fun.
Are the Psych books better than the Supernatural books?
So it has been a long time since I read it, but I would say probably the only reason I say that is because I only read one Supernatural book, and it was little things. Like one thing was Dean, who has green eyes, his eyes were blue in the book, and Sam, who has hazel eyes, his eyes were like chocolate brown in the book. And then it's this part where Dean doesn't want to drive his car because it's in New York City and he doesn't like city driving, so he makes Sam drive his car throughout the book. And I'm like, nope.
That feels weird.
Yeah.
That feels inconsistent.
So I never read any more just based on those 3 things, although there's a lot of other super fans that have read all of them and love them. But I pick up little details like that, and I'm like, no. And
for a show that's been around as long as Supernatural was on air, to have important details or character traits be kind of pushed to the side for that feels very wrong.
So those were the 2 that we chose from one another, and then we're like, and let's watch one show that neither of us have seen.
Yes.
So we chose Dead Boy Detectives, which is streaming on Netflix right now, which I'm sure will be available on DVD in the future. Probably not yet, but it will be. But the Dead Boy Detectives is based on Neil Gaiman, a book that he has written. And so Dead Boy Detectives is a graphic novel based off of Neil Gaiman's book.
Okay.
So anyhow,
that's
available.
When I looked up the graphic novel, it said it was by Neil Gaiman and somebody else.
Yeah. So I need to know, what did you think about Dead Boy Detectives?
I am a big Neil Gaiman fan to start off with. I've watched the Sandman series.
That's what it is,
through.
not Shadow. It was
It's
Sandman. The Dead Boy Detectives come from the Sandman.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've watched Sandman a couple of times. I really like his depiction of death in that, and she shows up in Dead Boy Detectives too. I like Coraline and a lot of his stuff. So I was like, this is going to be great. And the way that like the dynamic between the two main characters I thought was really cool too. One thing that I've noticed as a theme from Neil Gaiman stuff is how he depicts cats. In Coraline, like cats can kind of go between the living world and like other worlds. And I don't know if it was in the first episode or I started watching the second one too of Dead Boy.
I think it was in the first episode because I didn't watch past the first episode yet. Yeah.
So like kind of the cats talk to the dead in Dead Boy Detectives. And I'm like, Neil Gaiman really thinks cats are ethereal, supernatural creatures here. So I definitely I thought the show was like kind of quirky and a little bit dark, which is kind of my thing for stuff I like to read and watch. So I'm like, I'm going to binge this whole show. I just know it. Yeah.
There was one scene where the boys were hiding like in a closet. Did you notice all the clue games that were in that closet?
I didn't know.
Oh my, yes, it had a whole bunch of different age of clue games. I think it was their closet in their office or whatever. And it had some other games too, but it had like 6 or 7 clue games. And I just thought that was a lot of fun. They had those in the closet. So that's something that really stuck out to me.
It kind of gives you the idea. You can imagine them debating, like, we're going to play Clue. And they're like, but not that Clue.
Yeah.
We have to play this Clue.
Play the one from the 1950s or the 1980s or whatever it was.
Exactly.
So the very last scene of the pilot, there is an actress named Ruth Connell that shows up.
Yeah.
And I like her. She's a lot of fun. She is Scottish born and has a very thick Scottish accent, and she's fun to listen to. So I think that she's going to show up and be
kind of an antagonist.
Yeah, I think so.
For them?
I think so. That's what it kind of looked like because whatever they did some sort of summoning thing that was going to make death like be able to find them.
Right.
And so she got the note about that, and it seems like she might
was
be the
it
one that...
from that, or was it from when one of the boys possessed the witch?
Well, it was something that got on her radar.
Yeah.
That these boys were... I want to say alive, but they're not alive. They're dead.
They're missing dead people.
Yeah, missing dead people.
And she works for this agency that finds missing ghosts.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. So I will probably watch it again and see, just to see if I continue to enjoy it or not. There also, I think it was episode 7. The guy that directs it is Richard Speight Jr., and he has directed a lot of... He directed Supernatural, and he's directed different... he directed an episode of The New Walker Show. Okay. So I know that he's directing that episode.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see that, too.
Yeah.
Yes, this was fun. It was kind of like, here, read this book, tell me what you think, but watch this TV show instead. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I think especially for probably you... working in circulation, you have a lot of conversations with people of have you seen this, have you watched that, and recommendations going back and forth all the time.
Yeah. So people will come up, and especially Linda Castillo comes to mind. People will just see one of her books and pull it off the shelf, and I'm like, have you read the first one? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And she's like at 20 books or something now. I'm like, well, I really recommend trying to do them in order because there's different things with the characters but they can be standalone, but there's some things that you just should try and start from the beginning.
In order, yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun to me. And I talk movies with a lot of people that come in, and that's, I don't know if you probably don't get as big of an opportunity to talk books and movies with people in that way.
Usually we're just trying to help people find the ones that they're looking for. We don't usually get to recommend. Sometimes we do reader's advisory, or I guess watcher's advisory.
Yeah.
For folks, if they're looking for a show that's like Yellowstone, but Yellowstone's really popular, so all the DVDs are checked out. We can say, well, have you watched The New Walker? Have you watched something else?
The Ranch.
So I would say we would love to hear if anybody else has any shows that they've watched and would really recommend.
For sure.
Let us know.
Yeah, or if there's something that you maybe want to watch, but you'd rather have our review first, tell us. We'll review it for you and let you know.
About it. See what you think.
So this was fun. So what do we have coming up for the month of June?
Well, summer reading has begun. Adventure begins at your library, which is, I think, a fantastic theme. So we have summer reading programs for all ages, and everybody gets a prize. Even the adults, after you read 3 books, you get a little prize, and then every book you read goes towards the prize baskets.
Yeah, how many prize baskets do we have this year for adults?
We will have, I believe, 5 prize baskets this year, which is pretty average for what we've done. And then I'm really excited about the grand prize for teens. It's an axe throwing game. So it's all plastic. There's no actual metal axes involved, but it's I think pretty cool.
That's pretty adventurous.
I thought so. I was like, what's an adventurous prize that teens would like?
Yeah.
Axe throwing.
Sure.
Why not?
It's a very popular thing.
Yep. So if you're interested in participating in summer reading, you can go to our website and check that out, or give us a call or come into the library and we'll tell you about summer reading for every age.
Is it still taking place with Beanstack, right?
Yes.
So if you've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years, is the same login, do it the same way that they've been doing it? Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
And then I didn't know about this. We have a new drop-in story time for the summer. How fun is that? And that's on Thursdays at 3 o'clock. June 10th is when that's going to start. You don't have to register. You have to apparently just be born, because it says age of newborn to 2nd grade with a caregiver.
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot of fun. And then our regular story times, the ones that you have to register for, will also be beginning that week, right?
Yep, exactly. So I think that's a great idea, because a lot of people feel like they can't commit to coming every week.
Yeah.
And having, a pretty broad age range for a drop-in story time. It's pretty cool.
It'll be fun.
We have an adult take and make craft for the month of June. It's kind of while supplies last. You'll get a couple of cork coasters and some old book pages from some paperbacks, or map if you want. And then you get to Mod Podge that to your little cork coaster and make your own little adventure coasters.
Is it one coaster per make and take then?
2 coasters. The kit includes 2 coasters and the Mod Podge and the book pages. So you just have to have your own scissors and paintbrush or something.
Well, that'll be fun. Wish I was an adult and I would do it.
Too bad you're not an adult, Jen.
Too bad. On Thursday, June 13th, you're going to have a taste challenge with the teens. I remember when you did the potato chip one where they just had to try and guess what flavor potato chips. So, are you able to tell me what kind of things, or will that be giving away?
Well, it's going to be a variety of things. So there would be candy and chips and fruits and vegetables. So just all kinds of different
stuff. So they'll
stuff.
be blindfolded, I'm assuming. Okay. So they could taste like a peppermint candy and then all of a sudden a dill pickle or something like that.
Right.
Okay. So that is Thursday, June 13th at 5. And do they need to pre-register for that?
There is a registration for that because it's a food program. We just want to make sure if anybody has any food allergies that they're aware before they come to the program.
And so what qualifies teen? Actually teen in the age, or?
So any teen program for us here is 6th grade through 12th grade.
Okay.
12 to 18 as long as you're still in school. If there's, a younger 6th grader who's not 12, that's fine.
Yeah.
Please come enjoy a taste test challenge or whatever. So another fun thing that's happening on Thursday, June 13th with the children's department is the aviation adventure. And this is at 6 p.m. at Wayne College. There's going to be a hot air balloon. So you can go out there and watch them fill up the hot air balloon. There's no rides in it, but you can do pictures and ask questions and get to see a hot air balloon up close. I have a feeling they're probably a lot bigger than you think.
We actually had one. So we live right across from Stoller Lawn and Garden, and we had one land in their parking lot. Gosh, I'm going to say almost 20 years ago probably, because Joey was probably 4 or 5. And it was so cool. We went over and they let the kids go get in the basket and jump up and down to help deflate the balloon. So it was really, they're huge. Cool. But that was really cool. That'll be a lot of fun.
So
is that registration for that required?
I don't believe so, because there's not a limited amount of space or anything. It's mostly just going out, and I think it's parking lot E at Wayne College, and then there's a field where the balloon will be.
All right. It's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah, it's going to be. And that's just in June. That doesn't include anything else going on. So
very good.
Come check out what's happening at the library.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate everybody that's been listening, and we appreciate the feedback that we get sometimes too. So if you like something that we've done, if you don't like something that we've done, that's okay. Let us know. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys at the library.